On January 21st, 5 members of the U.S. Supreme Court dealt a heavy blow to American democracy. They ruled that corporations are persons and that the government must protect corporations against we the people. Susan B. Anthony, the great suffragist and abolitionist, she was born today. I found that out this morning. And you know, if she was alive now, she would be here today on her birthday. She'd be celebrating with us. She'd be celebrating by marching with us. She would say, overrule the court. She would tell us today, as she said then, that cautious, careful people always casting about to preserve their reputation and social standing never can bring about a reform. Those who are really in earnest must be willing to be anything or nothing in the world's estimation, and publicly and privately, in season or out. She was a founding mother of our country. She was a founding mother of what this country is today. And her part in renewing America included constitutional amendments. And did she and her sisters and her brothers ever succeed? They won the 13th, the 14th, the 15th amendments, abolition, expansion of equal protection, black suffrage. Those were hard won. Those amendments took the destruction of the slave power to accomplish them. And did they rest there? No. They won the 19th Amendment, women's suffrage. A great victory we look back on today. And they spent their entire lives in those struggles. And would anyone here venture to say that those lives were spent in vain? That those gains were not well won? No. On a future day, a multitude will gather here on these steps, and they will look back at what we dare to do here today. And they will thank you. They will thank you. And you're not alone. In addition to the many hundreds of Wisconsinites gathered here today, there are tens of thousands more who have signed the motion to amend the Constitution at movetoamend.org. And those people are organizing. They're not organizing in Washington, D.C. alone. They're organizing in Alaska, in Colorado, in Florida, in Texas, all across this country, across the Mississippi and Iowa. There are people who are organizing to build this movement to amend the Constitution. It is stirring.
Let's go to D.C.
Let's do that too. Let's go to D.C. We move, all of us, we move that the rights enumerated in the Bill of Rights are the rights of human beings, not corporations. Do I hear agreement?
Yeah.
We move that the unlimited use of money to influence elections is incompatible with the principle of equal protection. Do I hear agreement?
Yeah.
We move that the right to vote shall not be denied or abridged. Do I hear agreement?
Yeah.
We make these motions and more to amend the Constitution and to overrule and to overcome the damage the court has done to democracy. Just blocks from here stands a federal courthouse. And I ask you, shall we deliver our motion so that the nation hears it?
I'm so pleased to see so many people out today, and I was thinking about the fact that there were 600 people registered for the Tea Party convention, and that got nationwide news. You know, 600. I think between us and our friends on Facebook, we could outmatch that in a couple days, right? So, take back the media. So, let me talk to you a little about the Supreme Court. I do think that the fact that there hasn't been an impeachment proceeding even brought, even really talked about, is a huge problem. The fact is that there's been a revolution on the Supreme Court that's been 30 years in the making. This is the product of Reagan's ideological effort to pack the courts. Justice Roberts, Justice Scalia, Justice Thomas, Justice Alito, Justice Kennedy have all been part of the Federalist Society effort to remake our law. They've been doing it for over 20 years, 30 years now in the making. And if we didn't think Bush v. Gore was enough to tell us that there's something seriously wrong with the Supreme Court, this certainly must wake us up to the fact that the Supreme Court has been taken over by not conservatives, but by radicals in black clothing. When I was working for the Senate Judiciary Committee, in the first Bush administration in 2001 through 2002 through 2004. I fought to try to protect the courts from this takeover. We fought to filibuster nominees like Miguel Estrada, like William Haynes from the Defense Department, who was trying to get on the Fourth Circuit and maybe make it to the Supreme Court. We fought unsuccessfully against Justice Roberts making it to the D.C. Circuit. These were long battles in the trenches. And then after Bush won election in 2004, the court fell. The court fell. And this is a crucial issue for us in terms of this debate going forward. This court, this 5-person majority, these 5 guys, they're in their 50s and their 60s. They're there for a while. We've got a lot to fight about. There are some great laws in terms of public finance, in terms of keeping foreign corporations out of our elections, in terms of requiring corporate approval of shareholders. Those are all very important measures. But we have to think as well that this court, this majority, is going to be there for many years. And they have demonstrated their determination to strike down sensible legislation intended to protect the sacred nature of our democracy and intended to protect the free speech rights of people. So this is a battle. This is the beginning of a battle. We're going to work on legislation. We're going to work on amendments. And the Center for Media and Democracy strongly supports amending the Constitution. We think this is a crucial effort over the long haul. It's not easy, but it's got to start somewhere. And the Reagan Revolution, the fact of the Federalist Society, the seating of these judges for this court started with a handful of people in Washington who were determined to remake our law. And we can counter that effort. It may take time, it will take time, but we've got to come together to say that we're in it for the long haul. We have a vision for our future, and our vision isn't one of corporate democracy. So there are a lot of things we can do. One of the things we're doing at SourceWatch is trying to document the corporate rights arguments and the amendments against corporate rights, and talk about which corporations are involved in influencing our elections and the type of spin and propaganda they're putting out there. We know in the coming election and in the coming elections, there are going to be numerous claims about regulating corporations killing jobs. That's going to be the new mantra. But the fact is that we need regulation of corporations. We need to ensure that people like Karen Silkwood don't just have a job, but have a safe job. We need to ensure that Lilly Ledbetter doesn't just have a job at unequal pay, but actually has equal pay. And these are the types of regulations that are going to be under assault by these corporations and by corporations who are trying to buy members of Congress through tanking their opponents or through supporting feel-good ads for the people they choose. We've got to stand up to that. And we've got to come together and realize that this isn't a one-day rally. It's not a 1-week rally. It's not a 1-month rally. It's not even a 1-year rally. But together, we can change the direction of our country, and we can do it if we unite across the country, with not just in Wisconsin, but cities and states around the nation. So let me just conclude by giving a shout out to some of these great signs. Shame on you, right, for the Supreme Court. Shame on you. We've got corporations aren't people. We've got free speech means little if you can't be heard. We've got the Supreme Court betrays us. We've got Overrule the Court. Citizen elections funded now. We the people, not we the corporations. No mind, no heart, no voice. Move to amend the Constitution. So, we've got a lot of work to do, and your words are more eloquent than mine, I'm sure.
We are building the movement at the state level, not in Washington, D.C. This is not a lobbying campaign. This is a movement from below, built in the states. We're going to our legislators because they are our neighbors. They are close to us. We can find them, and we can let them know that we're going to hold them accountable.